Hello and what's up everyone, this is Baifa, and in this video I am going to talk about how can we install OpenCV in Windows machine and then use that from our C++ program. This is not an easier task especially for beginners, but I will try to make it as simple as possible. Also, please try to ignore the noise on my background. Here on my machine I have opened a C++ code in a VS Code, and main reason to use VS Code is obviously the extensions like C++ and cmake tools. One of the best advantages of using VS Code here is that I don't have to write any build commands in order to build my C++ code, because by clicking a simple play button, everything will be happening in the backend. Here in my one of two example, I have read one of my local image file and then stored it in the variable named as image, and then simply stored that using imso method. If you are in hurry, then please go ahead and follow the steps that I have written on the blog at my GitHub page, and if you are more into visual learning, then please follow this video. Since we will be working on a VS Code, now first step is obviously to install a VS Code. So now just go to the native browser and search for the VS Code, and after downloading the installation file, please install that in your system and wait for the installation to be completed, because it might take some time. After the completion of installation of VS Code, we have to install extensions in it, and first one is C++. So search from the extensions tab, and which obviously is developed by Microsoft and can be recognized easily. And another extension we will be using is IntelliSense, and which is known as Visual Studio IntelliCode in the Microsoft. And the last extension we will be using is cmake tools. So just search for it from the extension search, and then we will be using these cmake tools in order to make a build file. Another thing we have to download is Microsoft Visual Studio. I have already installed it on my system, which contain all of the required build tool for Windows. Now download the Visual Studio 2019 community from the website, and after downloading, install the installer, and I have already downloaded and installed it. So open that and it will show this window. Now only thing we need to install is desktop development with C++. I have also installed the game development with Unity, but that is not necessary right now because that was for my own personal purpose. After doing check in that desktop development with C++, then download the dependencies. Depending on the internet speed and hardware you have, it will take some time. And also, we can do install while downloading, and it will obviously save some time with the power of multiprocessing. Next thing we need to download is cmake. Search for it in the Google and then download the installer and install it using the installer. Next thing we need to install is mingw compiler, which we can find in the source forge, and make sure to install it inside a C drive. And then now add the path of bin to environment variables. Now add the path in both user and system variable, and then add the root folder in the path 2. One thing to remember is that if mingw is installed successfully, then there should be compilers like C++, G++ inside bin. The last thing we have to download in this tutorial is the OpenCV from SourceForge, where we can find pre-built version of OpenCV. After downloading, extract it inside C directory and then add the path to environment variable. Here I have OpenCV folder in C drive, and inside that is again OpenCV, and there is a build folder which contains a pre-built OpenCV which we can use. Inside build is folder 64, and inside that is BC15, and this BC15 contains LIV and BIN folder which should be added to the environment variable, else our C++ compiler cannot find OpenCV. Again, go to the environment variable and edit the path variable. I have already added those both in my system variable. After completing this task, move over to the VS Code and start a new workspace, and I am only starting new window and then choosing our newly made folder OpenCV test. So we have already installed required extensions, and let's hit Ctrl plus Shift plus P at the same time to enter the command palette of PS Code, where we can search for various extensions or tools. And now we will be searching cmake. I have already used it, and so it might be on the top, but while you will be searching, it can be in the bottom. Now you have to choose a appropriate Visual Studio compiling option, and I am choosing from the bottom. But I think all of these can work, and if you are in top, then you can select the last one. After that, cmake tools will search for the cmakelist.txt file, which will be used to build a executable or library. And once it cannot find it, it will show us a warning, and we simply have to click on create. It will ask for a project name, and let's name it OpenCV-test, and I want executable file instead of the library. The cmake tools has automatically create a main.cpp file and cmakelist.txt file for us. Main.cpp is simple, a low-level program, and cmakelist contains all the instructions required for building our executable. If we are not using cmake tools, then we have to write all these things from text editor. In order to make sure if our build system will work fine or not, let's build it, and head over to the bottom side and click on play icon. It will take some time to build for the first time, and once build is complete, it should be showing us result. In the terminal, our executable is built and run, thus shows hello world. Now to make our C++ find the OpenCV, we have to add OpenCV into build instructions. To do that, add some instructions in the cmakelist.txt file. First, find package OpenCV, and it is required obviously. And next, add directories, that will be OpenCV include directories. And finally, add target link library, and let's link OpenCV to our project. Now save the file, and once it is saved, the cmake tool will check if the build operation can be done or not. We can see that output console, and if no error comes, we can write OpenCV code. Also in my output console, it has found OpenCV 4.5.1, so I think it is successful. Now we can go to main.c++ and remove existing code and include dependencies. First include IOStream and stdio, and then include OpenCV, which will be inside OpenCV2 folder. If you go and see that, using IntelliSense, we can get the recommendation, and which makes our task even much easier. We need to include high GUI for GUIs or Windows operations, img proc image process for image process, and img codec for image codecs like png, jpg. One important thing is that we actually don't need to include high GUI image process and image codecs for simple reading and showing code in this current example, but it will be required for much advanced operation. But anyway, I am including it, I don't know why. Now in our code, we are going to use std, and then image as a matrix, then define a main method, write our image path in a variable impath, and let me see which image to use. I will be using bg26 image, and make sure to use full path. One should not be forgetting is that semicolon in C++, and I also forgot to add another colon. Now I can read image in BGR format by passing only image path and the format. I am using BGR here now, so that image using by giving window name and image. Finally, add wait key to 0 and return 0. Now let's build it, and kaboom, it is running fine. If you find any problems, and then please leave me comments, and if you found this video helpful, then you know which buttons to smash. Thank you for watching this video, and I think I would be seeing you in the next video. I have some cool OpenCV projects on the mind, and I will be sharing them in following weeks. Until then, stay safe.